Hi everyone, it's Sunday, June 6th, time for another HideNet Week in Review. I'm Vera Dordick. It was another rather quiet week in the Hide market. The biggest news of the week was certainly the cyber attack on JBS, and as you know, it was the US and Australia that were affected, but generally thanks to the Memorial Day holiday in the US and quick action by the company, the slaughter downtime was very limited and capacity is already back up to normal. For the U.S. market, prices were generally steady because of the holiday and mainly because of no availability when it comes to the most in-demand steer selections. As was the case the previous week, the hottest selections were branded steers, Colorados, and heavy Texas steers. And regarding Texas, seasonal weights of 64 pounds were steady at $47, and that's mostly because there's virtually nothing available. While the hides for footwear are popular items these days, those for automotive are a harder sell, but prices are holding on to steady levels nonetheless. In the cow market, plump cows are a little harder to sell right now, but no one's actually very worried because positions remain well sold. Looking at export sales for the week, those totaled 498,600. That's down 32% from the previous week's sizable sales report. Also, this week's sales were pretty nearly 50-50 cured and wet blue, with the larger number of 272,000 being wet blue, not cured. Slaughter through Saturday, June 5th was at 528,000, and that is down by 14%. And it really reflects the drop in slaughter, not just from the JBS incident, but from the Memorial Day holiday weekend. Now, however, slaughter is running on all cylinders, so numbers should be back up to their normal summer highs next week. Taking a look at Europe, editor Andrea Guolo says that the situation there is stable. Even though sellers are still pushing higher, tanners have their programs and they're not open to more increases, so not a lot of movement last week. In the UK, Andrea said that the previous week's prices are confirmed for the 36 plus ox at £1.35 sterling per kilo. In Ireland, the reference price for the 36 plus is €1.40. With regard to bulls, Andrea says prices were stable this week, but things do remain tense because demand is lacking for some destinations. Southern German bulls remain stuck at €1.85 per kilo, but once again, another origin or two added as much as 10 cents. The European cow market was again quiet, with prices mostly steady. In the veal skin market, demand has not eased, and now that there were previous increases for Dutch skins, other origins are looking at possible higher prices now too. In his analysis this week, Andrea sums up what's going on and the situation with footwear demand right now. From South America, editor Ronald Guiel reports that the average price of fresh hides increased sharply last week, and they are selling at $3.61 per kilo. More importantly, after weeks of holding TR1 prices steady, sellers had to cave, and they raised it by 5 cents per square foot to $1.20. Looking at other news from Brazil, preliminary data shows that hide exports totaled $118.7 million in May, and that's down a little more than 2% from April. Elsewhere in Latin America, in Argentina, the strike by cattle ranchers ended, and that was in support of those against the ban on exports, but that is in discussion now with the government, and the strike is over. Colombia's IFLS and EICI leather and footwear fair has moved to dates in August, and that's because of spiking COVID rates and some unrest in the country. A number of brands are expanding their presence in Mexico, and in Paraguay, meat exporters slaughtered 198,754 head in May, and that's down 1.2% from April. So that's all we have for this week, and until next week, good night from HideNet.